So with becoming a transformational leadership, you can do anything. There's many different types of leadership, as you all know. One of the ways that I've looked at leadership for my aspect as an athlete has always been as transformational leadership. What is transformational leadership? Transformational leadership is a model of leadership that relies on people to realize what they're looking for and their overall success. Many of you realize this as it goes with teams typically, more because it's a big group of people that are looking towards one goal as a team, and they help try to build a morale and a self-confidence towards that. The overall point of being in transformational leadership is to develop a type of leadership that stays in the organization for years. One of the ways that I've always looked at it as is like, you have guys that are always remembered on athletes or on teams. Like I have a couple for me. It was like Austin Klein was a guy that I looked up to. Jake Schrand, Zane Collins, all guys that I've played with throughout the years that have put a lot of impact on me. After hearing the definition, I'm sure some of you guys were kind of wondering how it works in anything other than sports. Obviously it does. If you're in a workplace where you're working as a team, obviously it works there. If you're in an office job, guess what? It works there. Because more than likely at some point you're going to work in a group, or you're going to work as a part of a team. Something that I think of that goes very well with this is the difference in being a part of a team and trying to be selfless. Obviously, if you're trying to be a leader, you're working as a part of a team, which means you have to be selfless. Not many people can be selfless. It's very hard to be selfless. It is also something that takes a minute to kind of realize what you're getting into. Something that the guys that I had listed off did for me was they taught me how to be the work ethic that I needed. These are all guys that put in extra work. They're all guys that had put in work not only in baseball, but in their own jobs, off the field with school, into their family, into their girlfriend, fiance, wife, whoever it was at the time. These are all people that not only were very good leaders and as a part of a team, but were also very good leaders when it came to helping out and just taking care of stuff. This is kind of what transformational leadership is it's going to have the ability to put an effect on somebody even when they leave. One of the things that is very important when it comes to sports, morale, right? You hear about it all the time. It's like, oh, this team was depressed. They weren't, after the second inning, they were out of it. They were gone. They were done. There was no coming back to it after that. They gave up 10 runs or they gave up 3 runs and it was game over. When it comes to transformational leadership, this is whenever this stuff starts to kick in a little bit. With transformational leadership, if you have good leaders on that team, that stuff's going to get taken care of. That stuff's going to get looked at. They're going to start seeing, oh crap, this guy's starting to lose his morale. He's starting to get a little depressed. He's starting to get down. And they're going to have a couple guys come over, pick him up, and get him ready for the next inning, get him ready for the next at bat. Shoot, he might just be cheering on the team, and just that's what he's doing. That's his job for the day. This is why it's so crucial in sports to have a good morale, which relies on transformational leadership. Could you imagine having a team without any leaders? I couldn't. I definitely couldn't. Teams that don't have leaders, they're chaotic, they're self-minded, they're never successful or seem to be never successful. They run into a ton of bumps on the road because all they want to care about is themselves. It's kind of a rough patch to be in. When you got to think about it as part of being a team is working together, being selfless and not selfish. One of the biggest leaders that you're going to see on most teams is a coach. This is typically the biggest leader on a team. He's going to have the same goal that he's going to be seeking for everybody. Think about it. You have this one guy who isn't worried about doing anything besides winning, and he knows in order to win that his team has to work together. He can't do that by himself. He's not able to go out there and do the things that need done in order to win without the team. I've had multiple coaches in my past that have all came together and helped me kind of start clicking and getting ready to go and getting in this position that I need to be in to kind of get me to boost on to my next area. Whether it is a coach that has helped with, this could be a coach that has helped me with my family life. This could be a coach that has helped me in any life. I've had multiple guys that have came up to me and said, hey, what coach has ever helped you the best, right? One of the coaches that I look up to the most was my high school coach. My high school coach looked at me whenever I was getting told that I would never play Division I baseball, I would never go on to the next level, I would never be better than what I was, and told me, yes, I can. Right? This guy was like a second dad to me. He was always there and pushing me even beyond my limits to help me get to where I wanted to be, right? One of the big things with him is I got in trouble a couple times in high school for stuff that was not necessarily the biggest deal, but not something to be taken lightly either, right? This guy didn't look at me and say, hey, you're stupid. Why did you do it? He asked, why did you do it? We did my punishment together, or we did it with somebody else that was in the trouble and not just doing it on my own. He kind of helped me get to the point where I realized that what I needed to do was be selfless and quit being selfish, right? It's going to be something I'm going to talk about a lot in this talk. Guys that can be leaders. Other than coaches, you have upperclassmen and you have underclassmen. These are going to be the guys that are at the top end of the grade. They're there for a decent period of time. They've been playing at this level for years, right? The underclassmen are going to be the guys that are kind of new, haven't really been there, or they are brand new and haven't been there yet. For in college or in high school, you think of it as like your underclassmen are typically your freshmen, your sophomores. And your upperclassmen are typically your juniors, seniors, fifth years, whatever level it could be. Guys that are upperclassmen are big leaders, typically. They're going to take over and do what is needed to do to help out with the team. They've been there. They've seen it. They know what works. They know what doesn't work, right? Some guys that like I've run around with and understood, these are guys that have all seen the stuff that didn't work, right? However, on the other aspect of it is, some of those upperclassmen are also guys that have seen what works and what doesn't work, but they're too lazy to really fix what needs to be fixed in order to become that next level point, right? These are guys that typically have been there the longest. They have the experience needed to understand what it needs to be done to get to that next level. Your underclassmen, so like your freshmen, your sophomores in high school, the younger guys, right? These are all guys that are new. They don't really know how to fit in yet. They're kind of learning, hey, this is what I need to do. This is how I need to take care of this, right? The big thing with them is there are some freshmen, there are some sophomores that will make a big difference, especially come season time. They'll probably play. There's going to be a couple of them that are going to show out and just be insane. They're going to go nuts, right? There's a guy or two that does it every year. A guy for my college team last year that did it was Justin Rimmer. Guy goes nuts. He hit very well, was a great shortstop for us, was a great second baseman when we needed him to be there. He is a good leader. He was a guy that for years now will be looked at and be like, okay, this guy puts in work. He gets the job done when it needs to be done. And when he didn't get it done, he put in more work and more work and more work until he got to where he needed to do. Even whenever he was putting in as much work as he could possibly do, he tried to put in more to get the team better. Yes, to get himself better, but to be selfless and to try to help that team get to the better point. This leads me to my second point today. Why lead? Why be a leader? What's the benefits of leading, right? It's a lot of weight on your shoulders when you're a leader. Think about it. If you're that captain on that team, or if you're that coach on that team, and you guys lose, you just lost. It's a lot of weight on you. Whereas for the freshmen, they're kind of like, I don't really know yet. I'm kind of new. I don't really know what's going on yet, right? The teams that have good leaders are going to be unselfish. They're going to be selfless. They're going to work well together. They're not going to be lazy. The team typically doesn't fall apart because they're friends inside and outside of the job that needs to be done, right? When you think of that, if you have teams that have teammates in college, live together, right? And the guys that don't live together, they just know each other very well. It's what needs to be done to get to the next point is you have to be able to know the guys. And you have to be able to know your teammates, not only at the level of what you're working, but at the level of where you're on your daily life. These guys are going to be the guys that are going to be great leaders, right? Teams that don't have good leadership, they fall apart. They don't stay together. They're very weak-minded. Like I said earlier, they get lazy. They don't put in work. They're just going to sit there and be like, oh, we lost. It's tough luck. Try again next time, right? They're not going to be upset. They're not going to get embarrassed when they lose. It's okay to do that. It's okay to get upset when you lose. It is. You won't win close games if your team doesn't have good leaders, doesn't have that transformational leader that wants to leave an impact for years on that organization, right? Those are going to be the teams that are going to win your one-run ball games, that are going to have the team that's going to prove people wrong, and when things get hard, they're going to push through it. Teams like Wright State, who have great leaders in pretty much all the sports that I've seen, have proved people wrong again and again. We're a small mid-major. Nobody really expects us to be better than everybody else, right? But we've got teams like our baseball team who goes in and beats Power 5 schools every year. Our volleyball team beats Power 5 schools every year. Our basketball team last year made it further than what they have in the past and beat Power 5 schools to do it. It's crazy the things that you can do when you have good leadership. Those teams, however, though, don't only have good leaders, but have hard workers that want to be good leaders. You can be a good leader, but if you're kind of like, yeah, we lost, boys. We need to work on it for the next game. Come on, let's get better. That's good, right? But that's not somebody that's really pushing you to get better. That brings us to our third point. How to lead. How to be a good leader. how to leave that moment that people know what you did for the organization, right? We talk about reasons all the time on, hey, why should I lead? Why? Why put in my time and effort, right? Teams that have leaders that want to lead and want to push teams or their other players to lead win. They play for championships. They compete at every level as hard as they can. They want to be remembered for this. They want to be remembered for that guy that even when he was as busy as possible, taking care of his family or working as hard as he could to keep his family go, did what he could do and still put in extra effort, right? They want to leave a mark on that organization saying this is what it is to be a leader. For Wright State baseball, I say this is what it is to be a Raider. We all have our mark on ourselves called the Raider Gang. We're a family in our own, right? We try to push ourselves and others on our team to become better, to get to the point to where we're just running through people, right? Getting to that next level, and then getting even higher, and then getting even higher. It's very hard to do, but that's why that work is there. That's why you have that leader. So even whenever you push through and you struggle, that leader pushes you to do better. Guys that are leaders don't have to be guys that are daily players. They don't. I've met some of my best leaders in college baseball were guys that didn't play every day. As a pitcher, it's not possible to play every day, right? Our arms need rest. We have to have breaks. And those are some of the guys that are some of the best leaders. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be a main guy that just doesn't throw every day. I'm saying you can be a bench player. You can sit on the sideline. You can be injured. You can be a guy who hasn't played in 3 years, right? But if you're still there, you can be a good leader. You can lead off the field, right? The morale is the big thing with baseball, right? It's not over until there's 27 outs or at least 24, sorry. This stuff happens, right? You have to get outs to win in baseball. There's no time. There's no timer at all. We don't put timers on ourselves in baseball. It's not over until that last out is called, which is why in baseball, I believe your morale has to be much higher. Okay? Guys that we've had in the past at Wright State that have been great leaders have been guys that sat on the sideline and literally just talked and kept their team up. The guy got out, he'd go pick him up immediately. Hey, good job, come on, you got it, next time, let's go. Next AB, next pitch, whatever it is. It could be a guy that's sitting on the sideline saying, hey, let's put in work, let's get better, come on, let's go, let's do better today. You're going to beat me out for my spot? I don't care, that's fine. Make sure you did what you needed to do to beat me out for my spot, right? Morale. Morale is so important when it comes to sports, right? And in transformational leadership. It's hard to play for a team that's morale is always down. Always, right? What kind of team do you want to be on if you're always losing? If every time you show up to the field or every time you show up to the court, everybody just seems like, I don't really want to be here, I'm kind of depressed. You don't really want to play on that team. If you have an upbeat team, it's easy to try to lead on that. Now the issue becomes is even when your team gets down, you have to be able to pull them up and lead them through, right? We talked about it earlier. You don't have to be an upperclassman. You don't have to be a coach. You can be an underclassman. You can be a new guy, and you can still lead. You don't have to play. You can be sitting. You can be injured. You can be anybody, honestly. As long as you are there on a daily basis and you are putting in work with your team, are trying to help your team, you can be a transformational leader and a part of that organization. When we talk about being a transformational leader, like I said earlier, it's a guy who wants to leave his role there and the stuff that he did for the organization that succeeds up to the next level, and that stuff stays there. The freshmen that see that, they incorporate it in the next couple years. And then those freshmen will see that and see what he fixed, and they'll incorporate it. It's those guys that are great transformational leaders. And it's those guys that we want to see be the transformational leaders of our world. Because those guys aren't only transformational leaders on sports teams, right? Those are the guys that go into your everyday job and become transformational leaders. You might not play in college. You might be done after high school, and that's okay. Only 6% of athletes play high school baseball and continue to play in college. And it's only another 3% that play pro ball. You have to use your ability to lead, not only in the sports that you play, but wherever you go in life. Because what you're going to do is you're going to lead at your teams with your sports, and then succeed and get yourself to the next level and succeed in becoming a great leader for all that you do. You're going to want to strive to get your team or your group to finish an assignment at the best level that they could be. For us in OL, I'm in a part of a group. I try my hardest to help my group do what we need to do and succeed through what we do and try to make it the best we can do and get the assignment done with the best possible grade. Thank you. I'm Tristan Hott, and this is my talk on transformational leadership.